tell you something that when we're listening and people are talking, something I want you to do is laser focus. You guys ever do laser focus? Have you ever done that before? So if I say laser focus, you're going to, I want to hear your best, like, radar gun, right? I know, girls, I know. Right? So laser focus. And point at the person. Oh, that was a weak laser gun. Ready? Let's try it again. Ready? Laser focus. So if I say laser focus on, tell me your name, honey. Laser focus on Ava. So we're going to look at Ava when she's talking, okay? Are y'all with me? All right, let's get started this morning. Our learning target, you guys out here have been doing fractions. We worked on decomposing fractions yesterday, so we're kind of build on that. What you guys are learning today is to interpret the answer from a fraction problem. What does it mean to interpret something? Turn and tell your neighbor what it means to interpret. Okay, so let's come back to me. What do you think interpret means? What do you think? Make a guess, maybe. Yeah?
Mixed fractions.
Mixed fractions, you think we might be working with those possibly? And you might have to interpret them. Have you ever heard of someone interpreting from English to Spanish? Yes. Or from Spanish to English? So when you interpret something, you're telling what? That's okay, yeah.
I'm thinking guess. I think like it means like a new thing.
Okay, so you're telling what it means. You're thinking about, oh, that means this. So if I say hola in Spanish, if you interpret it, what does that mean?
Hi.
Hi, right? So you're interpreting an answer. So you're going to be looking at the answer and tell me what that answer means, okay? And you know how you're going to know you've learned it and you're successful? When you can model the problem, you can write an equation and explain your thinking. Tell your neighbor the 3 things you have to do to be successful today. Okay, come back with me. Are you going to just do a model and be done?
No.
No, because you're going to be missing 2 parts, right? You're going to need to do what else besides just make a model with these fun fractions? Yeah, what else?
Make an equation.
An equation, and then you also have to be able to explain what that means, right? So help your neighbors out when you're working together. So you guys are going to work in your partners. So you have partners at each group. So you should have a fraction bag for like these two, these two, these two, and these two. Except for you guys are going to work in groups of 3. Okay, everybody else is in partners. Are you ready? Okay, so you guys go to art class. You have art class. Oh yeah, it's fun times, right? So the art teacher's planning some art projects, and she needs marker packs. She needs to make sure there's enough markers for everybody. Okay. And the markers come in packs of 8. She anticipates that each of the class's students will use 5/8 of a box on one project and 6/8 of a box on the next project. Okay? So what we're trying to figure out is how many boxes of markers she's going to need for each class to complete these 2 projects. So some of you are thinking about, oh, I kind of already know the answer, I think. But remember our success criteria. You've got to be able to model it, explain it, right? And write an equation. And then remember our target was to interpret. All of those things help us interpret the answer. So you guys have a sheet in front of you that I put down on your desk. If you want to turn that over, it has the problem on there for you. I'm going to set my timer, and you guys are going to get started with trying to figure out how many packs of markers our art teacher is going to need. What do you think, okay? So you guys get started with that, and I'll be walking around asking you some questions. My phone. I put it over here. Did you have a question? Oh, you don't have the papers. Oh, thanks. You might need those. Here you go, baby. One for you, one for you, one for you. I don't know. So, talk to me about what you're thinking. Oh, why do you think we need to use 8? Oh, it says 5/8. So you're trying to model, what does the 5/8 represent? 5/8 represents what? What is your problem? What does the 5/8 tell us?
We need 5/8 of the box.
5/8 of a box. And it's 5/8 is how much? What?
Here.
5/8 of a whole.
Here's the
But
5/8.
what is it telling us? What is the 5/8 doing? Who's using them? And so one class is gonna need 5/8, right? So what's the other class gonna need? Why don't you work on modeling that, and then I want y'all to talk about what are you gonna do to these fraction pieces to figure out how many boxes they need altogether, okay? All right, so talk with your partners. All right, guys, talk to me about what's going on over here. Tell me about your model.
Okay, so I'm doing 2 boxes of 8.
Okay, guys, look over here. Tell me your name again. Alyssa?
Ava.
Ava. Sorry, Alyssa's over there. Ava, let's look at Ava's model here. Look at what she's doing. What does she think? What do you think these two things represent? Represents the boxes of markers inside the boxes. So how many pieces does she have each one in?
She has 4, 8. There's 16. There's 18 squares, because there's only 8.
Okay. So each box is going to have 8 in it. How did you know each box was going to have 8 in it? Oh, from the picture.
And the paragraph.
Oh, what in the paragraph tells us that the box is going to have 8? Go ahead, Ava.
It says the students will use 5/8 of the box for one project and 6/8 of the box for the next project.
Okay. So what's Ava you think going to do next to figure out how many boxes they're going to use altogether? What do you think she's going to do next, guys? Count them up. What's she going to count? The markers. So let's look at what's your name? Miles has an equation here. I want you guys to think about how can you make her model match his equation to show the answer, and does he have the right answer? Okay, so you guys work on making this model match that equation. Work together. All right, guys, talk to me about what's going on over here.
We're trying to decide if it's one box because if there's a different color. 5/8 first, and then get another marker to add.
Okay, so do you hear what she's saying?
Yeah, that's why.
So what are y'all thinking?
I'm agreeing with her, but it's kind of confusing because we don't know if she's gonna use, or they're gonna need more than one box,
Oh.
like they need new markers, or they're gonna need the same amount, just add one.
Gotcha. Okay, so I wonder if we could, I noticed our friend here, what's your name? Stephen is getting out some pieces here. I wonder if our pieces might help us model this out. 'Cause it looks like Stephen has an equation and a little bit of a model going on over here. Let's take a look at that. You see Stephen's equation and his model? Where do you think he's getting this and this? What are these numbers representing?
How many markers they need? Yeah.
For each project, right? And so why did he add them?
He added them as an add project because we're doing 2 projects.
Okay, and we need to know, because it says how many is she going to need, how many boxes or packs of markers is she going to need. So he's putting them together to find out how many. So he wrote 11 eighths. Can you have 11 eighths?
Yeah, it's just greater than 1.
Oh,
That
so
we need 2 boxes.
but he's saying we need 2 boxes. So how could you show that with your models to show that we need 2 boxes? And is he right? Do we need 2 full boxes or not? So work with your group. You both have some fraction strips to see if you can model how many boxes that we might need, okay? All right, guys, talk to me about what's going on here.
So we figured out that she has 11 markers in total.
Oh, she said 11 markers. How did she know 11 markers?
She added 5 plus 6.
5 plus 6. But is that number a 5 and a 6? What do those 5 and 6s represent?
5/8 and 6/8.
So what does that 5/8 tell you?
That's the
five
first
out of
class.
First project, right?
And then the second class is 2 projects.
2 projects. So one, I'm going to use 5/8. Am I going to use 5 or am I going to use 5/8? I'm confused. 5/8 of what? Of a pack, right? In the second class, I'm going to use 6/8 of a pack. So tell me why. Tell me your name. Miranda, you said 11, right? Why would she say 11 markers, though? Why would she say that?
Probably because she added 5, all of them.
So do you hear what he's saying? She added all of these together. So what does each one of these pieces represent? 1/8. But also what Miranda said, it could be 1 what? What did you say it was? 11 what? You said 11 markers.